Testing, testing, testing. One, two, three. Testing, testing. get the mic set here. Okay, we'll get underway. Okay, underway. Welcome, everyone. This is our first print night. This is People in Pictorial print, and we'll have a lecture beforehand. First, let me get up our Friday slides, and we'll get underway. Okay. And remember to silence your cell phones and no video allowed during the production. That's okay, underway. Friday meetings. Next Friday should be very interesting. We are having a light painting workshop. Pixel Connection has loaned us a speaker whose specialty is light painting, but light painting on small sets. So this is not the outdoor with the steel wall and things like that. And he's going to actually have sets here with things and show us with flashlights and whatnot, and he'll have the equipment how to do this. And so bring your cameras and whatnot. It'll be an interesting evening. Since this is all hands-on here, there'll be no video and whatnot, so this won't go out. So we encourage everyone to attend. It should be an interesting evening with an interesting skill. The Friday after that, October 27th, our own Ken Hubble, who is an astrophotographer, will be giving us a lecture on photographing the April 2024 solar eclipse and how to do that. So that should be interesting as well. November 3rd, another black and white competition, which will be print again. And being print, we need a speaker beforehand, and that's where this time I will be coming back with the confusing topic of monitor calibration, how and why. And I found a way to make it even more confusing. So that is, you'll like that. But it raises a lot of questions. It's just going to be, it'll be a 30-minute talk, but it should be interesting. November 10th is our B competition, which will be projection. And I wanted to say a word again about our website. Again, we keep our website current. So if there are announcements, even that day, if it's a weather-related thing and you know, gee, is the clubhouse going to be open, it'll be on the home page. The calendar is kept up to date. So if you're looking for field trips, speakers, things like that, it has all about them as well, and that is current. Our programs, everything about our mentor programs, our schools, everything like that as well are in there. Competitions, all the schedules are in there as well. Schools, of course, all of our school information. Galleries, all the competition galleries after tonight, usually within 48 hours. I have the galleries up. You'll be able to see that. As well as the exhibit galleries, field trip galleries are all there. Newsletters are all of our old darkroom doors are there. And again, under the membership, that's our member portal where you could go after you've signed in and access the last 2 to 2.5 years worth of Zoom calls and SIG meetings. They're all in there. So it's always current and a great place just to go for information. And of course, all of our public meetings, the public meetings are online and live on YouTube and stored there. You'll just go to the upper right-hand corner. This is the YouTube icon right there. You just click on that on the website. When you get to YouTube, just click on live and you'll see in date order all of our video productions. And so that's it. So without any further ado, I want to introduce tonight's speaker as I get the video set up, our own Nancy Ballack, who is going to be talking to us on Portrait Pro software. And Nancy, I will get this set up for you. So we will.
Oops. Can you hear me? Am I on? Okay, good.
Buy me a minute, Nancy.
Okay, I'll give you a minute.
That's right. No, I mean, yeah, entertain the audience. That's it. No, I mean,
How many of you have ever used Portrait Professional? Oh, two people out of the group? Okay, hopefully I can encourage you to use it. Have many of you heard that Portrait Professional makes everything look like the models or whatever look like mannequins? Nobody's heard that? Well, I've heard that numerous times. I hope to change your
Yours.
mind if that's the cause. Portrait Professional, is it up there? Okay, good. Portrait Professional is a facial editing program, and we're going to be talking about that. It can be a standalone, so you can use it all by itself with any programs that you might have. It's also a plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom. And I'll be explaining how to do the standalone and then going through Photoshop as a plugin on my computer. I have a Mac, and for some reason on the screen it's a little squished here, but that's all right. We'll get around that. I'm going to first start out to tell you a little bit about the additions that they have in Photoshop right now, and I'll do that right now and get it started. And if you wouldn't mind holding your questions until we get to the end, I've got a lot to talk about tonight. Sorry about that, guys, but okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Portrait Professional right now is not a subscription, so when you buy it, it's yours forever. And then when they come up with upgrades, they usually come up with an upgrade maybe once a year or so. And if let's say you purchase this now, let me show you the different. These are the editions right now. And if you buy like an edition right now, that the next time they come out, they might only charge you half of that, like around $40. They'll send out like an email beforehand and say there's a special deal on upgrades. So if they go to version 24, then you'll get a discount on it. But it's yours forever. Some people don't buy the upgrades. This edition right now, the version 23 is amazing. I really like it. I do have the Studio edition. It's $89.95. A long time ago, they used to have like a coupon code in like some of the photography magazines, especially photography magazines that specialized in portraits and stuff. If you look in the back, it would have a coupon code for 10% off of any Portrait Professional. I don't get those magazines anymore, so I don't know if they still have them in there, but you might want to check. If you do have some magazines, you might want to check to see if there's a coupon code if you decide you might like to purchase this. Okay, if I scroll down a little bit, it gives you what you can get with the standard, what you can get with the Studio, and what you can get with the Studio Max. Basically, the Studio Max, you can do batch processing with that. That's why it's a little bit more expensive, but they're both, the Studio and Studio Max are pretty much the same except for the batch processing. If you go on their website, you can take a tour of all kinds of things they've got on there. They've got, YouTube has some great videos on how to use Portrait Professional. They have different versions of that, so check the version first, and then, like I said, version 23 is our most current one right now. And then there's also a free trial. I don't know exactly how that works. I don't know if you can work on your photographs, but you can't save them. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one. And then this is what it does. If you click on that, they have overviews and tutorials. Some of the tutorials are from like 2017, but they still work on even the current version right now. All the little sliders and so forth. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I've got a lot to talk about. Okay. All right, I'm using myself as an example today. I have to adopt all of you at the end of the program because nobody usually sees me looking like this on Facebook. I figure if I'm a portrait photographer, I'm going to have my portraits look somewhat decent. So I always use Photoshop and Portrait Professional. Some of my high school friends go, "Nancy, you look so young," and I'm going, "Yeah, I got a secret." So anyway, I'm going to start out doing the plug-in first, and so I go into Filter, and I go down to Anthropics is the name of the company that makes Portrait Professional. I go to Portrait Pro, and let me get there. Okay, and now it's going to go into Portrait Pro real quick, and it's finding the faces in the image, and it's trying to figure out what's the best way to enhance my face. And usually, sometimes it takes a long time, but just follow along with me. You're doing good. Okay, and so it's just calculating different things, what's going to make my face look the best. All right, so this is when it comes up looking like, but I don't like to just start it like this. I like to play around with all my portraits first. And also, one thing I want you to check out is when you go to put your photographs in or your portraits in there, make sure that you look up here at the top. It's where it says female. I'm going to show you one where it's a man with a beard and it calls him a child, and I don't understand why it does that. It doesn't do that often. 99% of the time, this really works. So anyway, but I brought that just to show you. But make sure it says female or male or whatever you're working on. Across the top here, I'm going to hold off on some of the things on the top. I'll cover that in a little bit. I like to work with the controls because I have more control over the sliders and everything. They do have presets here that are already set up. I'm not going to click on any of these, but you can kind of see how they're going to change my face to look. And then look at this one, glamorous too. Wow. That got rid of my jowls really good. So that was, and then really gives you a lot of makeup and stuff. We'll cover that in a little bit too. So anyway, there's presets if you want to use them. I don't like to use them. They have snapshots here that I don't ever use that, and I don't even understand it. And then there's history. I can click on that, and so whatever I'm working on, if I decide I don't like it, I can just go up the history palette there and wipe out what I've just worked on. But I'm going to stick with the controls here. There's a zoom up here so you can get larger. There I am. Okay, larger, and then you can zoom out and you can zoom in. Okay, we'll probably be working more like this. Like I said, I'll show you how I use some of this other stuff a little bit later. First things that I like to do, I'm going to be telling you what I like to do. If you ended up buying the program and you would work on things that you like to do, that's fine. But these are the things that you try to use a light hand when I do my Portrait Pro. And the one thing I really, really like about it is how it relights my photographs. I do a lot of photographs out at Hill Farm. I'm not allowed to bring a tripod. It's too heavy to take a big flash with me. And so I use a lot of natural light. But sometimes I need just a little kick more light. And Portrait Professional does it for me, and it does a beautiful job. And you can also adjust adjust your sliders for the lighting too, which we'll get to in a second. All right, first I start out with the shape here. Can you see that okay? Do I need to do this? Can you see it okay? Is that better? Okay, all right. Okay, first I start out with the shape, and then there's a master fade right underneath it. And like I said, when I do the portraits, I don't like to really change the shape of somebody's face because they're going to notice it. I kind of take the slider back a little bit. You can, if I take it like this, you can see what it does. I'll play around with it here. Humiliate myself, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to take it to about there, maybe about 10. And then the face shape, I'm going to leave it at 11. And the eyes, I don't do anything here, but eye widening here. Let me do that. It widens the left eye and right eye, and it's not the right and left eye on there. It's when you're looking at it, it's on the right or the left. So I have a granddaughter whose one eye squints a little bit more than the other, and so I use this one particularly when I'm working on her photos, and then I widen the eyes a little bit, either right or left, and I'll show you how that works. I'm going to do it. Okay, watch my eyes. I can wink at you and you don't even know it. Okay, eye expanding is just making the eyes wider across this way, and I don't ever use that. I don't use anything with mouth shape. I have plump lips. It's probably cheaper than getting your Botox in your lips or something here, but it doesn't work quite as well. The nose shape, you can see over here to the side that it changed my nose shape, which is good, and then it slimmed the tip of my nose a little bit. Let's go back to here, and I'll just move this around a little bit here. You can kind of see my nostrils moving there a little bit. Neck and shoulders is kind of interesting. I can tuck the neck length and so forth. This is nice when you don't have a neck like I do. Now watch this. I'm going to zoom out so you can see it better. Well, I know, pretty cool, huh? I said I wish there was a Portrait Professional fairy that just followed me around all day long and tapped me on the head with a little magic wand. You go, okay, Nancy, your mascara is dripping down your face. Let's fix it. Okay, expressions. We'll cover the expressions when I have another person up because his face is just perfect for that. Hair volume is kind of cool. When I was taking some pictures of my granddaughter, her hair was a little bit flat and I wanted a little bit more volume, so watch this. Cool, huh? Okay. Yay. Hairline, this one's funny. Okay, you can change that around. There's just so many cool things you can do. Now, if somebody's wearing glasses and this is smushed their face together, it will also smush the glasses. So if you want to straighten the glasses out, and you hit this little box here, it's restore glass shape, and it will restore the glasses back to what they originally were. Okay, and then we're going to go down.
Eyeglass glare?
No, unfortunately, you got to still use Photoshop or something. Or yeah, no, it won't do that. Unfortunately, maybe for the next edition they'll do that. Skin smoothing, okay. Skin smoothing, that's where people can run into a problem. If you use skin smoothing too much, then that's when the face starts looking artificial and it starts looking like a mannequin. And you want to have some pores left. And Portrait Professional's done a pretty good job of keeping that where you can see the pores in the face, which is kind of nice, except for mine, and some of those are really big, so I have to really work on that. But we can take the master fade down a little bit too. I'm going to bring this up so you can see close. If I take it down, I'm going to take it up to show you what it looks like when you, all right, see my face is just way too smooth, my wrinkles are gone, okay, and so if I take it back a little bit, like maybe to there, so you can still see my wrinkles. I like to see wrinkles in people's faces, generally not mine, but I'd like to see wrinkles in faces, but I like to have them soft. It will soften up the wrinkles a little bit so they don't look, if they're 80, they don't look like they're 20. I had a friend who was very, very ill, and she said, Nancy, I want to look really young again because that's the picture I want when I die. She said she wants that, but she said, I want to look like this. And I went, okay. So I worked on her a lot. I took her way back. She loved the photographs. To me, they just didn't look right because I knew what she really looked like. But I got rid of all her wrinkles, and she looked quite young. Here's around the eyes. It will lighten eye bags. Yay. Smooth eye bags and get rid of crow's feet. Let's see. If I go like here, I've got some wrinkles around my eyes, and I've got crow's feet, so I can get rid of that. Can you see how they're disappearing? Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right. And then there's imperfections, thinning wrinkles, fine shadows it gets rid of, removes pores, removes shine, and it gets rid of grease on the face. So you can adjust it here to get rid of, may have more of a matte look on the face here. Okay, I don't use anything for sharpening yet on here. My eyebrows don't really need trimming because I've got bangs and I can let them grow wild. It doesn't matter. Around the mouth, I don't use this one. Non-face skin, I've got another way of fixing that. Let's see, spot removal here. They have different sensitivities. So if you want it to really get rid of a lot of the spots, you want it very strong, you can adjust it down here to like high sensitivity or maximum sensitivity. I usually just keep it on medium, and I don't hardly ever touch it. Lighting and coloring. This is my favorite part of this. I love this. Like I said, I do a lot of natural light photography, and sometimes I just need a little kick of light. And this is pretty cool. Now watch my face because I'm going to move this around. Okay, and I usually keep it right where it's at because Portrait Professional does a really good job of doing placing the light correctly. They have body contrast. I don't use that, and I don't use base contrast. Look at the modeling light here. I think this is about 14 here, yeah. And this is fixed lighting here. Watch this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's 30. That was it. Okay. And then cheekbones. This is it. It will it's like if you put like a what do you call it under your cheekbones to make them stand out a little bit, to sculpt them. It does that. A little bit there. Can you see it? This is the one I like. Now I'm standing in a corner here, and off to the viewer's right, there is a wall. And if I wanted to, I could add a little bit of shadow, right shadow. This works kind of neat. Let's take this back here. Can you see how it kind of sculpts the face a little bit, gives you a nice shadow on that side?
Nancy?
Yeah.
So I know this is a close-up portrait, but say you have
Just on the face. Yeah. Okay, and then right click and left kick. I've never used that, but it just throws a little bit of extra light on the face, like right there, my chin. Okay, so I don't use that. Smoky eye is kind of neat, and it does it more for women than men. It does do smoky eyes for men, which I'll show you a little bit later. But the smoky eye does, let me get back up close. Okay, it just kind of gives a little bit of darkness around the eye. It could give it a little bit more depth to the eyes. Can you see it? Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to put a pout on myself, but I will do something else with somebody else in just a minute, a little bit. Sculpting the nose. This adds like a highlight going down the center of the nose like that. I don't really want to accentuate my nose that much, so I usually take it back this way. And if you go this way, then it gets rid of that highlight going down the center of your nose. I don't do anything with skin. This one's interesting here, the skin color. If you click on that, these are all sliders. I mean, it's really easy to do in whatever. It's just a lot of fun. I can do this. If I click on this, it gives me options of different colors to color my face. This is color correcting because I really did a bad job of putting my makeup on over on this side. But I can go more natural color. Let's see what other. Luminous pale. It just changes it a little bit, and then I'm going to put it back to color correct because I want to do something here, and I can change the color a little bit. If I take this up this way, it goes really bright. If I go back down a little bit more, it kind of gives me more of a natural look a little bit. You can brightness and contrast. You can change the temperature on your face, the tint. Oh, this one's good. This looks like I've been down in Florida for like, in the hot sun for like weeks on end. Now watch this. I haven't been that dark since I was like in my 20s, I think. We used to lay it on the beach. But anyway, so you can change that around. Then there's different ways you can get a golden tan down here, or darken or saturate, whatever. There is a lighting brush here. I haven't used that, but if you click on that, then it forms a brush that you can lighten anything you want in the photograph. Ah, the makeup. That's my fun one. See, Richard, I could go on these big trips with just a backpack, come back and put my makeup on here in Portrait Professional and not have to carry a whole suitcase for my makeup. So that would be good. I don't know how he travels like that. Okay, all right, makeup. I could do a master fade on this. Watch this, and just really mess my face up with just one slider. Woohoo, right? Okay. Or I could go back and I could, like, if I wanted to change my lipstick, it gives me options to do that. I could put in different colors of lipstick, shine and coverage and so forth. I don't know if that'll do it. It's changing it a little bit. Mascara is fun because I don't have long eyelashes, but if I do this, I can add them. Let's see. I'm just going to do this and watch my eyelashes grow. Pretty cool, huh? Okay. And then you can have options of doing medium application, or thick application, light application. You can get false eyelashes on there without getting glue all over yourself. That works. There you go. You can do softness, nudge the upper lash, nudge the lower lash. Let's see. Anyway, so we'll do that. Eyeshadow, I don't usually mess with the eyeshadows very much. That would just take too long. Lower eyelashes. Eyeliner is pretty cool. You know how they have the cat eyes now, like where they bring it out and then the eyeliner and then the cat eyes to kind of flick up on the sides. There's no way I could do that, but I can here. Let's see if I can get a thick cat eye. Oh, it doesn't show up too much because I've got the mascara on. So let's try a liquid eyeliner on that. So that kind of fixes that because I did a really bad job of putting eyeliner on the left side. Let's see. And then you can do, there's a subtle cat eye on there for that. I'm going to go on there. You can add blusher if you want with whatever. And you can pick out the face shape that you have. If I have a round face, and then it would add the blusher to look nice with my round face. Bronzer, highlighter, and eyebrow pencil. This one's cool. Eyebrow pencil, if I wanted my eyebrows to be a little bit darker, I could go darker here and go really dark, and you can change that around. Okay. The eyes are fun. let's say you've got somebody and they're posing for you and they've got their hair in front of their eyes and you can only see one eye. It's going to confuse portrait professionals. So if you come in here, you can close one eye here. If there's an eye that's closed, you can close it. Or if both eyes are closed, you can do that. Okay. And you can remove red eye with this. Okay. This is kind of nice. I'm not going to go into this too much because you can change it around, but look at the numbers on this side over here as far as what it's processed. It can whiten the eyes. Usually this is just like right eye, left eye type things. It can whiten the eyes. It can clean the eyes. So I have major dry eye and my eyes are always red. So this is a nice thing to have. It can whiten the area. It can darken the pupil. Let's just put this one on here. It can go really dark in here. The pupil size can be changed. Sharpen the eye. Sometimes if you miss and your eyes are a little bit not quite in focus, you can sharpen the eyes and it does a really nice job of that. This is one I really like to work on here. It's brighten the iris. And can you see that? My daughter used to hate it when I do that to my granddaughters because she said I used to make them look like the vampires from, what was that? The vampire movie? Oh, shoot. Okay. Twilight, thank you. And where they had those amber colored eyes and stuff, you know, and my granddaughters had brown eyes and I do that and my daughter would freak out. It was fun. I can change the eye color if I want. A little bit here, but the best way to change it is by going to contact lenses. Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm going to adjust the opacity here. Okay, now I've got blue eyes. And I can make them brown. And I can make them even more green. I can make them hazel. Okay, and then if I want to get out of this, let's see, I can go up to history. And I can go, let's see. I can go up here from the bottom and go up to where, I'm just going to go up to brighten iris. Okay, and I'm going to go back to controls. So I don't have that because there's no way I can turn that off. Okay. I don't have any eyelids. Basically, I've got my top part of my eye is going over the bottom part of my eye. But if I want an eyelid, I can add it. Watch the eyelid form on that. On my. Pretty cool. I know. Okay, and pupil reflections. A catch light's always nice to have in the eye. You can actually add them later if you want. This and see here, can you see like right here? That was just added here, but I can move that around if I want. Okay, and then I can also make it less. I can take it down, the opacity down, and there's a lot of different reflections you can hear. There's one even a cathedral window that you could pop in the eye too if you wanted, but I don't. So we're gonna go back, history, catch lights, turn on catch lights. An eyelid, we'll keep that and go back to controls. Okay, mouth and nose, I usually don't do too much with that. I can whiten the teeth, clean the teeth, whiten the whole area around, lip saturation, lip darken, lip contrast, sharpen the mouth, sharpen teeth. I don't know why anybody would want that, but who knows. Nose contrast, moisten lips, and lip hue. Hair, this one's fun. My granddaughters used to love to play with this one. Okay, there's an a view and edit hair mask. So it shows you like if you're going to change the color on the hair, how you would go about doing it. And you can add more area. I'm gonna try maybe adding a little bit here. It's gonna come out looking a little weird, but if I want a little more of the hair to be covered, I can take this down a little bit like this and kind of come in here. Because when I go to change the hair color on this, on my hair here, my bangs don't show up. They come out really funky. And they're going to come out like, never mind. Okay, and I'll go, okay. I'll keep that just like that. And this disappears. Okay, now see this right here? Okay, this is fun. I can change this is great if you want to get your hair colored and you not sure how you're going to look. You could put your picture in there and then just go ahead. There's lots of different colors, choices to go from here. This is almost like the color that I have there. Okay, I go here. If you want to see what you look like with a redhead, light mahogany, dark brown mix, natural black, midnight black. Oh, these are the ones my granddaughters like playing with here. Like that, vibrant pink, whatever. So those are kind of fun to play around with. Okay, color change. I'm sorry, just a minute, let me get back here. Okay, I'll get back to here. Oh, change, please. Don't leave me green. And it looks like it's going to. Cool, okay, all right. So we'll just continue on. The last ones over here, I don't usually use these because I have better software that I use to change any pictures around, anything on there. I'll show you what, whoops, sorry. Okay, it's just like auto levels, flatten histogram, exposure, fill shadows, blacks, contrast, dehaze, and that. Let's see. And then I can convert it to black and white, and then this has layers in it. I wouldn't probably use that. Oh, also every once in a while, if I haven't erased it, all these little tips will pop up, and you can kind of read to see how to change things around from there. If you don't ever want to see them again, you can click hide forever, and they'll be gone. Then there's different tools here. You can remove noise. There's a clone tool, but like I said, I would do that in Photoshop. The artifacts one's kind of weird. Okay, you can do different things there. Low contrast. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them that you can use. You know, like, I don't know I ever use that. Okay, so, yeah, so anyway, I want to go back to, let's see. Let me hit OK. I don't want to save the image. All right, let me show you some tools up at the top. Oh, it came back. All right, yay. I want to show you some tools up at the top. Right here is the touch-up tool. If there's a couple spots on the picture that you just want to just touch it and make it a little bit better, you can. Sometimes if somebody you're shooting has freckles, and it'll take the freckles away thinking that they're blemishes or whatever, but you want the freckles back, it can do that, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. This one's a touch-up tool, and like right here in the corners of my eyes, I want that cleaned up a little bit, so I can just go back and clean that up a little bit here. I can go around, okay, let's say this is my dimple. Let's say I take the dimple out. And I think, oh no, I didn't want to take the dimple out. So there's this one, it's called the Restore tool. And if I click on that, it will bring my dimples back, or my one dimple back, and it'll bring it back there. So if there's another spot on, like this is kind of a mess over here. And if I wanted to fix this up, I can kind of make it, but you have to be careful with this and how opaque it is, because then that's when your skin starts looking less real. Okay, I think that's it on this. And then to go back, all you have to do is click File, Return from Plugin, and it goes back into Photoshop. And watch my face change here. Did you see it just change real quick on that? So that it's done. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do a standalone, and I'm going to do a male here. This is my next door neighbor. He works for Waste Management. It's probably one of the best models I've ever had. He loves to go out there and just pose. And this was shot on January 1st. He didn't go partying the night before, so that was good. We got out there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was misty, rainy, and very, very cold, very drab. But he did a great job for me. But I'm going to show you how to do a standalone. Down here at the bottom is the Portrait Professional icon. And if I click on this, okay, it says to open the image. It's not automatically entered into Portrait Pro. So open an image, and then what it does, it takes you back into where your photo file is. And I'm going to Mail here. I'm going to open here, and when I do that, then it goes through the whole process of trying to pick out what's the best enhancement for that. But did you see what just popped up? Okay, it says child on it. That's definitely not a child. I cannot understand how it did that. He's got a full beard and a heavy face and wrinkles, and it's coming up as a child. Okay, so yeah, he'd think that would be really funny. So what I can do then is I can go up into here, and there's the female, the male, and the child genders. So if I click on the male, now watch his face change over on the right here in a second. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to have to readjust some of these lines here because I know his chin's a little bit longer than that. So I'm going to just come down and bring this down. This is how we used to have to do it a long time ago, before they automated it. We had to do all this ourselves. Like that. His eyes look really good. There's like little pinpoints where the eyes are, where his eyebrows are, and all that. Okay, but you can see what it has done. Look at how it brightened his face up a lot. I'm not particularly crazy about the color of his face, but I've got a way to change that really quick. His shape, I might change it. I might take it down to about a 10. Did you see his face change a little bit there? Okay. All right, we can do that. I'm going to take it down to the expressions because this is quite humorous. Okay, you ready? Okay, this is the smile, but look how it changes his whole face. Like Gabby Hayes. I don't know if some of you remember Gabby Hayes. Or I'm the only one. Okay, a frown. Look at that. A surprise. Interest. Yeah. And thoughtful. It looks like he's more in agony on that one, right? So I'm not going to do hair volume on him because that makes his hat explode. So that won't work. And his hairline will come all the way down like that. If he had glasses, we could do that. Skin smoothing, like I said, I love to see wrinkles and characters in people's faces, especially if they've got a beard. And I love his wrinkles. And if you can kind of see his face is generally pretty smooth anyway. But here it smoothed it out a little bit too much. So I'm going to take the master fade here and take it all the way back almost to get his wrinkles back. And then there's imperfections, thin wrinkles, fine shadows, remove pores, remove shine, and remove grease again. I'm not going to go through that again. Let's see what else. He definitely doesn't wear makeup, so I'm not even going to go there. He also has the smoky eye here, but his is it's not as bad. But if I take it off, you can see it kind of lighten his eyes up right beneath his eyebrows. Okay, and then sculpting the nose. If I didn't want that line going, the highlight going down the center of his nose, I could take this back a little bit. It takes it back. Skin color on him, I like the skin color it is, but I want it just a little bit darker. So I'm going to just take it down a little bit here, so you can kind of see what it looks like here. And then I'm not going to put a tan on him or anything. Let's see, wait a minute. Oh, all right, now he's up against the tree here. And let's say I wanted a shadow on his right side. I would maybe could add a little shadow to that to make it look a little more realistic because the tree might be casting a shadow on that side of his face. And really, I don't think I do much more with him, just kind of like that. Now, for me to get back into that, I'm going to do File, Save As, okay? Because I'm using a standalone. I'm not going back to Photoshop. And it'll say mail_PP, which stands for Portrait Professional. That's nice because then when I go to try to find that photo, I know when it says PP, that's the one I worked on. Okay, I'm going to hit Save. This way takes a little bit longer, but it's not that bad. I'm going to go out of Portrait Professional. I'm going to quit Portrait Professional. Okay, now this is the original photo that I had. I have to go into File, Open. And this is the file that I got it from, but you see mail_PP. That's the one I just worked on. I click on that to open it, and that's how you do your standalones. Okay, so that's the one I just finished. All right, now I'm going to do a group of people. I shot these kids at Hale Farm during the Civil War reenactment, and I just put them under a tree. The lighting wasn't that great, but I want you to see how you can do a group of people, not just one person at a time. All right, we go into Filter, Anthropics, Portrait Pro, and this is going to take a little bit longer because it's going to try to get the facials enhancement for all 5 people. You can do a whole family. You can do a mother, father, grandparents, kids, and you can do all that in one. If you want to do if you want to do enhancements on all of them, you can, and I will show you how to do that in a minute. And just hang in there with me. I'm not going to go into great detail on this one. With the male and with children, Portrait Professional doesn't really give it a big whammy at first. It really is very subdued and a very light touch. And you'll see that here. It doesn't put makeup on the children. It doesn't put makeup on the men, of course. Okay, now if I wanted to, there's the little girl in the background. I had to really use denoise on this particular photo, so they look a little strange, a little too smooth. But if you wanted, you could do the shape, take the shape down. If I wanted to, I could brighten up her teeth. Let's just show that real quick. I could whiten teeth. And she's got braces on. Can you see her teeth getting a little bit, they look more gray, but anyway, so you can do all that, and you can do whatever you want to each one of them. When you're done working on editing them, you go up here to this little icon of this head and shoulders, okay, and that takes you back to the original photo, and you can see all of them do have the correct gender or child on them, which is correct. And then all you have to do is to go select to whichever person you want. You just hit select. Okay, it's coming up here in a second. This is a little boy, and he had on like pantaloons and stuff. That's how they dressed back in the 1860s, and he was just covered from head to toe with mud. He was pretty funny. He was so cute. But look how it changed the lighting on his face. It's really nice. And if I clicked on this, you could kind of see like his face stands out a little bit more over here on this side. And then you just keep repeating this. You just keep going over here, and whatever one you want to select, like this little girl, she was a cutie, and select her, and it'll bring her back up. Like I said, you just can keep going for how many people you've got in the photograph that you want to work on. I'm just going to take it up like here. Here's and you can see it's just adjusted the lighting a little bit. And it really hasn't adjusted their faces that much, so it's pretty light. The last one that I want to show you, I'm just going to let me take this back. So you just keep hitting that the head and the shoulders the icon, and it'll just keep going back to the photograph, and you keep selecting whatever you want. Hang on a second. Now this one's a little trickier. Photoshop can't determine a face unless it's seeing two eyes. So if you have a profile, you're going to have a slight problem. You kind of have to manipulate everything manually, but it's not that difficult. That's how we used to have to do it a long time ago anyway. So let me get the profile. This is my granddaughter. We had to negotiate her hair like that. I wanted a neat bun, and it was not like that. So it was either that or not get the shot. So I took what I could get. So anyway, is that? Yeah, okay. So anyway, it's a profile, and when I go to put it in, watch what happens. I'm going to go Filter, Anthropics, Portrait Pro. Processing 0 faces. No faces found. The automatic face detector did not find any faces. Click on the nose and then the chin of the face to start. But that's only get rid of the little sign there. Here it is, click on nose, then the chin, or manually locate the face. And it says face view side on in profile must be manually located. You might run into a problem like this too if you have a 3/4 pose and part of the eye is like the eye that's farthest from the lens. You can't really see it very much. You might have a problem with that, but then you can just manually locate, just like what I'm going to be doing right now. Okay, it says manually locate the face. Okay, so I'm going to click on that one. She is a female. All right, now I have this little crosshair here, and it says left corner of left eye. Well, you can't see it. So what you have to do is it says, if the eye cannot be seen due to the head being turned, click this button instead. It's the profile view, okay? Now, it shows you right here over on this side where to click. So I take the little crosshairs and I put them right there in the corner of her eye, and then I have to do the tip of her nose, and then I have to do the corner of her mouth, okay? All right, now I have to adjust the eyebrow. The eyebrow is right down there on the eyelid. So all I have to do is, like they have like little points here. I just take this and I drag it up like that. Now this one's a little bit trickier here for the eye. I have to bring this in. And this is the the iris here. I kind of tilt that a little bit and take it right about in here. And that looks about right. And I can kind of maneuver it around. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be in the vicinity. And then the next thing I have to do is just hit the space bar, and then I have to put it around her nose. I just grab those little those points, bring it down this way, bring it in here and here, okay, And that's good. I hit the space bar. And then I just bring this down here and then around her jawline, come up this way a little bit more. And I think that looks, oh, down here by her forehead, I have to bring this down just a little bit. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be pretty close. Okay, and then I hit the space bar. Now it's going to head and calculate. One time I did something like this and it came out looking like a Picasso painting. It was really, it didn't quite work. I had the eye over here on the head, but that was a long time ago. They fixed that. But look how nicely it lit her face. It gave me, I had an artificial light on the left-hand side, but I didn't have enough light. But on the right-hand side, it just added that little touch of beautiful light on her face. Now, if you look at her eye to me looks a little funny. So it looks a little too white. So if I go down to her eye here, and I just use the master fade, it'll just darken it up a little bit. So it looks a little bit like that. Okay, I like that. Now, all right, there is another two brushes up here, and it's a stray hair remover tool. And you have to pick out, do you want light hairs on a dark background or dark hairs on a light background? And it does make a difference. Okay, so I clicked on that. Okay, and let's just see in a second. Okay, I bring this down. You see here, click that. Okay, all right, now this will erase this. Hopefully this erases it. And can you see how it's erasing the stray hairs around her face? It wouldn't get rid of all that massive hair on the back of her neck, but let's see. Oops. If I make a mistake and I take off too much hair like that, I can restore it, the stray hair restore tool. So I can go back and I can put it back. So if you make a mistake, you can always go back and fix it. So let's see here. Okay, so anyway, that's basically how that's done. Also, I can, let's see, did I go back and do this one? No, you will put here. Okay, click, that's going to do that. And I can go all the way around her head, you know, just kind of get rid of the stray hairs, any flyaways. Like I said, it does not get rid of this. It still leaves it, it won't work. Okay, and then when I'm done, I just go back and I hit return from plugin. Now watch her change. Did you see the light change on that? It's just, and then you can make adjustments in Photoshop if you want or whatever. But that's basically how you do it. It's really pretty easy. If you wanted the free trial, you could get that and just play around with it. If you want to go on YouTube to see some other befores and afters, it's amazing what this thing can do. Does anybody have any questions? Am I okay on time?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it change, like, working, like, in your bit depth? Does it change?
I don't recall. I think it does, but I'm not sure. I just, whatever shows up. Yeah.
I used to photograph African American kids at Bedford High School.
Huh?
I always favored a fairer complexion, a lighter complexion. Will it do that with people of color?
Yeah, it works really great. Actually, they have several people on their website that they show befores and afters on. They're beautiful. You really come out nice. Anything else? Anybody else have any questions? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Will it work on anything other than faces?
Actually, they have one called Body Pro. I need double fairies for that one, but you know, that would be good to have. They have Body Pro, they have Landscape Pro, and they have, there's another one too that they have. So there's 4 different versions of different software that they have, that Anthropics has. So you could look at those things too, yeah. No, this is just for people. It's just for people. So. It's just a lot of fun to work with. Actually, my granddaughters would come over and they'd start messing around with this, and I'd put their pictures up, and then they could put makeup on themselves and stuff, and then their dad would come to pick them up, and he'd freak out, "What the hell are you doing with my granddaughters?" And, you know, they got this makeup on, their hair's out like this and stuff, but it was cute. They enjoyed it. They had fun doing that.
Another question, if you had one of the artificial intelligence programs make you a face, would it work on
You know, that's a good question. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in artificial intelligence. I'm just trying to repair things with it. Huh, Richard? So, But has anybody tried the artificial intelligence on the new Photoshop? It is amazing. It's amazing. Just to get rid of backgrounds and stuff. Did pictures of at Hill Farm, and the one I really, really liked, but there was a guy that was walking right next to the head of the man that I was shooting, and it just looked weird. It looked like he was walking to his ear. And I just went around it with the little tool and hit generate fill, and it did, and it completely got rid of him and added something really cool in the background. I'm like, oh, I'm loving this program. It was good. I haven't added anything to it yet. Like I tried it one time where I added a barn to spot out in Hill Farm, and it did it beautifully. It even matched the lighting that was in the picture. It was like incredible. So I know people are not really crazy about it, but it's really fun to play with.
Some of us are crazy about it.
Some of you are? Okay. Good. That's two of us. So, but nobody else has any questions? If you are interested, just explore their website, go on YouTube, check it out, and if you have any questions, shoot them over to Richard, and Richard will shoot them over to me then. Huh? Yeah, yeah, okay. So, okay, thank you very much. Thanks, thanks.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're
We're
welcome.
going to take just a 5-minute break while I transfer the pictures onto the computer and they get set up. So all of you at home, hang on.
Yeah, it did. That really did work good.
Your mic there.
Oh, sorry. Got.
With a little tap. Okay, well, we'll get ready to start filing back in to get set with our competition tonight. We start making our way back in. Okay. Well, again, we are going to start our people and pictorial print competitions. So we're going to get underway in just a second. That's live. Okay, we're set to get underway here, and I think what we're going to start off is Eric Wellington, who is our chair of the People Competition. We'll have our, yes, it's a hand for Eric. We'll have start to introduce our judges for tonight. Eric, you want to have them introduced?
That's right. Since you haven't done it before, we'll start at this side.
My name is Walter Grossman. I've been,
Yeah.
thank you. I've been involved in photography for 65 years. I've exhibited all over the country and the world. I taught intermediate and advanced photography at Lorraine Community, and believe it or not, they still teach darkroom photography. So, and I've been a member here at CPS, decades ago. But so I've been around. Oh, thank you.
Hey, I'm Glenn Petranek. I've been here once or twice, and I've been here quite often, go way back to days on Superior. Just a lot of times currently, I'm just out enjoying myself. For a living, I have to take pictures and I sell them. Not a bad deal. I do art shows mostly during the season, and I just finished show number 15. I'll be doing a total of 18 this year by the time the year ends, and then from end of January to May, I get to screw around and take more pictures. So it's a great gig. I'm loving it.
Hello, my name is Angelo Marandino. This is the first time I've been here, so thanks for inviting me. I'm an editorial and commercial photographer here in Cleveland and have been doing this for about 20 years, mostly photographing people. And as a matter of fact, one of my first instructors, I was happy and surprised to see him here, Rich Bogart, one of the important figures in my life. So, yeah, nice to be here. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, we'll get ready to get underway here. We'll bring up our images.
We'll start with Walt's, right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, by the way, because the entry count is kind of low, we're going to comment on all of them. So don't worry about if you red dotted any of them. You're going to get comments on all your photos.
Let's just let's hold 1 second. We're just locating one missing mic
Nope, okay.
so that we can have our results.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Here it
The
is.
guy that announces the results has to have a mic.
Take one of these, we could always share one if need be.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 handouts.
All set?
All right, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The execution on this was good. There are a couple of things here. The image is pretty tight, and the main emphasis really is on the violin rather than the violinist. The hand is out of focus. It was a well-executed picture, but I think the composition could have been a little bit better.
Peaceful, easy feeling. Denise Meekins, 20 points.
Lady has a rather pensive mood here. I think it was very well executed portrait. It's very sharp. Plenty of detail. I think the expression seems to fit her. I'm not sure I like the background per se. I think it kind of makes it look a little washed out. I think I would like to see something possibly a little darker in the background. I think she would pop a little more.
Carney Girl, Marge Brady, 19 points.
I'm curious to ask maybe after if this is, I can't tell if that's a backdrop or a composite or what, but I think it's really beautiful light, and it's a very moving photograph. I like the motion of the dress, but I also like the stillness in the face. The background is beautiful. I think this is a well-lit, well-made photograph, and captured quite a moment. I don't know that I have anything to add. I think this is a really wonderful photograph.
Mademoiselle, Jackie Sayuski, 24 points. Second place.
This was another very well done photograph. Dynamic, the colors, the placement. There's really not a whole lot I could recommend here to make it any better.
Dancing Dreams, Susan Bestel, 23 points. Third place.
I think it's a really fun image. I think I love the expression, and I like the circles, the face, the fur, the outside fur, the snow. It really tells you, a mood. It looks like, she loves winter, but we know how most of us feel about winter. The only thing I really can say about it, in the upper left, you have that sign there, and I would love to see that taken out. That would really, I think, put this together.
Emma, Miss America, Bob Koleski, 20 points.
So I think the first reaction I have to this is that it takes guts to make street photographs, especially sensitive photographs like this. So I commend the photographer on having the courage to do that. If there was anything I could suggest, I would think maybe something with a little less focus, maybe shallower depth of field, because so much is in focus. I'm not really sure. I know, I think, what you want me to see, but a little shallower focus might really help to control where you want people to go. And if you could, maybe the moment where the young woman is scratching her face, maybe distracting. But yeah, otherwise, I think, again, cheers for having the guts to go out and photograph sensitive subjects.
Curious street glance, Dennis Wirt, 21 points.
This is a very pleasant image. I enjoyed it very much. The only suggestion, on 3 of these images so far, the comments were made that I would have to agree with. It's up to the photographer
Need some more light.
to guide the viewer's eye to where he wants it to go.
I'm good.
Now,
I
in
like
this
the stand,
case,
thank you.
the face is great, the tonalities are great, the expression's great. The upper left is a problem. Your eye tends to go to light areas, and if they're in the background and they're insignificant, they're distracting. And here's a perfect example. If that upper left were burned down to the point, let's say the upper right is, there's no place for the photographer's eye or the viewer's eye to go is except the face.
Keeley, Mike Kopkis, 21 points.
I think this is just dramatic. The composition, the fierceness of this particular, warrior or Viking or whatever reenactment they're doing, looks like a wound on the face, but that eye sticking out under the helmet just nails it. Beautiful detail in the beard. The front horn comes a little bit out of focus, but that doesn't bother me at all.
Viking Warrior, Bill Keaton, 25 points. First place.
So I think whoever did this appears to have some really strong composite skills, which is something I don't have, so I admire that. I think the center composition kind of is tricky. That can be hit or miss. I wonder if it might have looked a little stronger, maybe if the ballerina was a little off to the side and not so much in the center. But nice use of color and a bit dramatic. So yeah, very great technical execution on this one.
She lights up the stage. Susan Bestel, 23 points. Third place.
I think this is another well-executed photograph. Lighting is great. The pose is great. I can't make any recommendations to improve this one. I think it's a very good job.
Proud Soldier, Zor reenactment, Jackie Siuski, 24 points. Second place.
Beautiful exposure on this. Also, I think the placement was very good on the subjects. Right in the lower right corner, you kind of go back, you get an idea of the place where they're at, and so forth. It kind of borders on more of a family type of snapshot, you want to call it that. I hate calling it that, but it, obviously, it's probably some kids they know, but I think the placement and where they're at is a fantastic record of what they did.
Capital idea.
Can I make a comment? I agree with everything. Compositionally, what would this look like if, let's say, 1.5 inches or so on that left were cropped out? Not so much. Just to the edge of the little bit more. Even a little bit more. Okay. That really adds nothing to the picture. If anything, it may distract. But other than that, this is a dynamite image. Nitpicky.
Capital idea, Catherine Kengott, 22 points, honorable mention.
So not to sound like I'm repeating myself, but again, I think making photographs like this takes guts because you never know how people are going to respond, and there's a skill set in not getting caught. You know, I think it's a nice moment. The person on the left is clearly expressing something, and the other person seems to be very interested. I would say if there's maybe any constructive thoughts I could have are that, you know, the composition on the right starts to get a little distracting. The people there's some weird tangents, and I wonder if maybe this photograph would be stronger if it was really just that table. You know, I know you give a little environment of what's going on, but I feel like everything on the other side is less interesting. So I guess if I could, you know, my critique of this would be to watch your backgrounds. Again, maybe a little less in focus. And, you know, again, a tighter shot of that woman, I'd be really interested to see something like that if it did exist.
Panadaria, Dave Sabork, 19 points.
I think this was a dynamite image. Compositional, there's geometry there. It's interesting. Your eye goes right to where the photographer wants it to go. I think it's a great effort here, very successful.
Huntress and the Wolf, Bill Keaton, 22 points, honorable mention.
I think an interesting composition, an interesting way of displaying overhead shot of people on park benches. So you don't see everything, and I like the originality of this. It's very cool. I do have a hard time landing on something, though, with my eye. There's a lot of people there and a lot going on, so I'm constantly going up and down, you know, seeing which person is going to be the main standout or whatever. You know, it's almost like you almost wish you had less people, then it would stand out a little bit more.
Beach bench warmers, Dennis Wirt, 20 points.
I think this, the obvious part of this photograph is just the joy in the child's face. A nice moment that is captured there, and a nice choice of focus to really pull her off the background. You know it's fall. If I was going to suggest anything, I don't know it's anything that would make the photo better or anything other than curiosity of what it might look like if the crop wasn't so hard on the back of her head, but that's probably just being picky. I kind of like that her hair's all over the place because it's a kid. And nice light, nice moment.
Abby, Mike Kopkis, 21 points.
Nice color. I like the background. I like the pose. To me, as I went from the bottom up, I thought it got a little weaker towards the top. Maybe that's just me. But in general, it's a good image. There's nothing that I could recommend. The only thing is the head is on the top, It may not have been possible, but if this could have been shot from a little higher position, because it almost looks like the head is the least important part of the image.
Swirling dancer, Paul Giglia, 20 points.
Yeah, it's a very, very good portrait of this particular subject. It stands out very well, plenty of detail. The lines in the face show that he's been a hard worker, and I enjoy the eyes looking a little bit off to the side instead of straight at you. It's kind of more of a pensive, thinking moment. And once again, I said the detail is awesome here. And I think the black and white and the tone with this really sets it off.
Trapper, Dave Saborik, 22 points. Honorable mention.
I think this is a challenging photo to make anytime you're trying to go back in time, but whoever did this obviously paid a lot of attention to the wardrobe. Not to mention, it has that older look of a photograph where there's a lot more maybe gray and not quite the same kind of contrast that you see in a lot of photographs today. I wonder if maybe that tree in the background is a little distracting. I guess maybe you can't move the tank, so that is what it is. But I think it's a really cool photograph, and it even kind of has that feeling when I see a lot of old photographs from, the 40s. Those photographs where the sunlight is oftentimes maybe a little harsher because it is what it is. So I like the time of day that this was chosen to be photographed, and nice attention to detail.
Sherman Crew, Dave Korosek, 21 points.
This is kind of an interesting composition. Here again, the thing that kind of hurts is that upper left. Does there have to be that much up there? Could this be cropped down a little bit, be a little less rectangular? Because that gaudy area, that almost stark area in that upper left really kind of wrecks the composition. I think it's, the idea here is good. The execution may be, and what I would recommend on a lot of these things, I hope our comments are constructive. I would hope that the photographer would continue to work on this image and try to refine it, put it up, look at it for a few days, and decide what can I do to make this better. And I think eliminating some of that really needless background, or even making it a horizontal image with just a little, as much sky taken out as possible, because that whole upper left is really a problem to me.
Lovett Sunrise, Chris Goff, 20 points.
You get a couple interesting subjects here. Obviously, I think something has gotten their attention because they're reacting to some external stimuli. Obviously, her eyes are moved, he's looking off in the distance. And the subjects themselves are very nice and colorful, but I think they need to be interacting more with each other. And you have that sign that's going up right between them. And it's almost like a barrier. Just even though it's out of focus, it's still quite bright. And even above that, there's like part of an awning or something, which once again, as you mentioned before, these bright areas do pull you away. I think it'd be better if you had, once again, I don't know their pictures, what they were doing, but more of an interaction between them instead of separating them.
Street performers, Paul Giglia, 19 points.
I mean, what else can you say about someone holding a goose in a hat like that? I mean, this is a great photo. One of my favorites of the bunch, just because it's, you know, it's a moment that's going on, and as we all know, those moments pass quickly. I think this suggestion has been mentioned with a few photographs, just wondering if, I mean, it's nice to see some space in the background because it gives it depth. But I wonder if a tighter crop where you just hear, you know, the goose is kind of like, yeah, I don't want to hear it, man. But maybe a tighter crop would really direct you in there, but I don't know that that would really, I mean, it's a really cool photograph regardless of that. So nice lighting, nice lens choice.
What if that, all those background tonalities would be darkened?
Yeah, a vignette
Whenever
might,
you've got something out of focus like that, if you darken it, it's not so noticeable.
yeah,
And it would keep your eye where you want it to go.
a vignette might do something. One thing I did kind of notice, if it was at all possible, is there's a lot of room up top, but his feet, for lack of knowing geese, if there wasn't a tangent at the bottom, it might be nice too. So you could have maybe dropped it down a little lower. But again, that's kind of nitpicking. It's still a really cool photograph, and it makes me smile.
Working the crowd, Rich Foley, 22 points. Honorable mention.
The first thing that the viewer notices with this is the color. That's nice. The sky is nice. The second from the left horse, that may have been subdued a little bit more. And if, yeah, in photography, I mean, it's just almost an axiom with many photos, not all. You darken the corners and the edges just a little bit. Not enough that the viewer says, oh, these edges are... I think that would have helped here, especially towards the bottom edge, just a little bit. And there again, it directs your eye where it should go. But where it does go is to that second horse's hind end. And that's, you know... And that could easily be corrected with any type of photography, digital, dark, or you could darken that. I think it would be a big help.
Office with a View, Rich Foley, 19 points. That concludes the people portion of the competition. I'm not tongue-tied.
Okay, we'll go now to Pictorial.
It's a lot of honeybees for one flower. The bees stand out. I would probably like to see a little more solid focus around it. I mean, the bee on the right side is pretty good, but the other ones are pretty soft. And the petals in the front are very white, very soft. So you have a hard time really landing into this thing, seeing what you want to do. It's almost better off at this point. Maybe you even step back so it's not so tight, so you can get more of this in focus and go with that.
Feeding Bees, Eric Wethington, 19 points.
I'm a little confused when I look at this photograph. It's definitely has an abstract feel. I don't know if it's off a glass building, but there is a lot going on. Kind of looks more like a painting to me than it does a photograph, but I like the colors. You know, there's a warm and cool kind of tug of war going on there. But I guess for my taste, I am kind of literal, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to see here, or if it's just a nice collection of colors, in which case, you know, well done. But just personal taste, I wish I had a little more context of what might be going on.
Cuyahoga River Reflections, Marge Brady, 20 points.
I think this was captured very well. All your attention is devoted to the plane. I don't think there's anything here that really could have been done any better. I think it's a success.
F-22, Eric Wethington, honorable mention. Oh, excuse me, 22 points. Thank you, Bill.
Nice collection of jellyfish. These things can sometimes be a little bit tough to shoot because obviously they're just floating all over the place. You know, that being said, I think I'd like to see this darkened down a bit. The tentacles on the top one that kind of flow over the center are a bit hot. And I've seen these before. The background could be a darker blue. I think that's a little more attractive when I've seen these display before. It's almost a little too hot, at least in my opinion. You know, for this type of subject.
Sea Nettles, Marge Brady, 19 points.
I think this photograph definitely tells a story. Makes you wonder what's going on in the teepee down there. I can imagine this was a very difficult exposure. There's quite a range, but it's a little muddy. I know it's nighttime, but I wonder if bringing the midtones to shadows up just a little bit would give you some texture, so that the majority of the photo isn't just kind of a mass of dark tones. But it's, you know, a nice moment, and again, there's a story that you can pick up on there, and it kind of makes me want to be in that teepee. So,
Northern.
On this same image, I agree with everything you said. Things you have to bear in mind. The major tonalities in any photograph, whether it's color or black and white, you want to have tonalities between textured white and textured black. Anything higher than textured white or lower than textured black, you got to be careful depending on how large an area it is. In this case, it's a very large area. So I agree 100%. If a little more detail could be brought out there, I think it would be a stronger image without distracting from the foreground or the background. And another thing that really looks good is the colors of the light. I mean, here you've got the green of the aurora, and then you've got the yellow light of the tent. That is great. I think that turned out very well.
Northern Lights, Eric Wethington, 20 points.
I suppressed that, so now I understand.
This is kind of interesting. The rock obviously is, we know what that is. The rippled water, the vertical lines there, at first I thought, well, this might be a reflection from something that's out of the picture. But they're pretty regular, so it's, I had a little difficulty deciding whether I like this or not. But the color's great. The color's great, and the background tonalities are good. Those vertical, is the photographer here? Yeah, he is. She is. Yeah. Those vertical lines, was that put in intentionally or?
Those are a reflection of the covered bridge.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it might be a reflection of something that we can't see in the image. Okay. Yeah.
Shimmering Waters Reflection, Ray Krasinski, 20 points.
Image sends a nice mood. You've got great tonality here. Enjoy the composition. You've got the lighthouse in a good spot. The beacons on, even that little fence in the foreground kind of gives you a sense of place and feel for it. Sky's really nice. Moon came out well. The only thing is, I think there's almost too much sky in relationship to the lighthouse. You know, the moon is way up there, so you've got a lot of space there, which has some nice color and so forth, but is it really connecting to the subject there, which, you know, obviously is the lighthouse. So, you know, I guess it depends if you want. You can crop into the lighthouse and lose the moon, but then again, that's, you know, I'm sure the maker thinks that's an integral part of the image. So I guess it's probably some personal taste in there, but other than that, it's very, very well done as far as your lighting, exposure, and all that.
Lighthouse, Rich Foley, 23 points, third place.
I think this is like some of the other photographs in here. It takes on a kind of a feeling of a painting. I don't really do much macro photography, so I won't pretend to know what I'm talking about, but I think this is a really beautiful photograph. I wonder if maybe at the bottom, the colors down there seem to get cut off kind of quickly. I wonder if pulling back a little bit and maybe showing a little underneath would add anything to it, because it's sort of just feels like it ends too soon. But I think the colors are beautiful. And I think this comment could also go to the Northern Lights photograph, and that there's also that part of screen to print, whereas Eric, that photograph you mentioned, that would be a difficult one to print. You know, I think this would also be a challenging photograph to print because, you know, there isn't really a dark black or a bright white, and I think making the decision to where you want it to land is always challenging. So I think this is done really well, but maybe showing a little more at the bottom would make it a little more enjoyable for me.
Dahlia Glow, Vicky Wirt, 21 points.
Yes, very nice. Very nice. This looks like a character from the Magic Flute. Well done. I don't think there's anything that could have improved it. Very nice.
Dancers are storytellers. Susan Bestel, 23 points, third place.
That is a very unique image showing a relation between the eagle and the juvenile. So I think it's something you don't see every day where you have them both together. I don't think I've ever really seen both together like that. Exposure's right on. Sky's muted. They pop right out of the image. Very well done.
Goodbye Daughter, Bob Koleski, 24 points, second place.
So I think everyone would, maybe not, but I think dramatic is the first word that comes to my mind when I see this. I think that's about the Badlands, if I'm correct on that. But either way, it's it's a moody photograph, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to focus on the clouds or the structures in the Badlands, and that's a tough one to make because both of those things are very interesting. So I don't know if maybe a different camera position or showing more of the structures in the bottom. I don't know exactly because obviously I wasn't there. Maybe this was the only place you could be. But I just think that the sky and the storm and the structures are kind of competing for attention. But as with a lot of the photographs we've seen tonight, I've been in the Badlands and I can kind of picture myself being there through this photograph. So I think that is a success. And also it's tricky too because you have mountains and the way things are moving in the background, it's hard to tell where the horizon is. So it feels a little off kilter, but not enough to feel intentional. So yeah, I think maybe thinking about that, you know, the horizon line and maybe how much to include might have made it a little stronger, but it's still a moment and a feeling that I'm sure a lot of us in here can relate to having experienced in our life.
So you think the horizon could have been a little higher?
Maybe, but then you risk losing some of the sky.
You're losing some of the sky.
Maybe pulling back and showing a little more in the foreground, or maybe a lower camera angle or something might.
Well, the storm that's going on in the center, that's kind of lost. There's a lot of drama there, and it's kind of lost, especially as you go towards the left. If that could be printed a little bit lighter to show some of the detail back there, I think that would make the whole image stronger. This image is definitely worth working on some
Yeah.
more.
I think the other thing too with photos like this, at least from my experience of traveling in nature, is that there's so much to see that oftentimes the photographs I make there are too many things in them. It's like 20 people talking at the same time. And I wonder if a photograph like this, you might tell the story more precisely and concisely if you actually zoomed in and just showed enough of the structures and some of the storm, because there's so much going on there. But again, when you're there, it's you know, it's hard for someone else to say what they would have done because, you know, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I do wonder if, you know, if you had a 70 to 200, if you racked it out at 200, what that might have looked like.
Well, there's a lot going on in there, that's for sure.
Storm over Badlands, Bill Keaton, 23 points, third place.
Well, this is interesting composition. I liked it, but here again, the background is interesting, and all the color is in the background. It's almost too interesting, and you take your eyes off the ships. If this were my image, I'd want to play with it and see what it looks like with some darkening on the right and left, and maybe on the upper left as well. It may help, it may not, but you don't know till you try it.
I think this is another one where you really have to watch those horizons. It just seems again like it's slanting towards the right, and that could be tricky. I mean, whether you capture it in camera or if you just rotate it, but yeah, horizons can really make or break a photograph.
Well, when there's water, the horizon better be level. You can drive yourself nuts with that.
Wendy Park Sunset, Dennis Wirt, 21 points.
Good placement on the balloon. Nighttime seems to work with this. Color is good with it. I just think that the foreground is almost a little bit too busy for what we have here. There's a lot going on in the foreground, which really doesn't tie in to the balloon there. Like I say, once again, great deal. The balloon itself is very interesting, but I just think there's so much going on the lower third there that it just competes too much.
Disney World Night, Mike Kopkis, 20 points.
Would lightening the balloon help?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Might.
You still have all that down.
There's a
still have
lot
all
go,
that down
yeah,
the
there's a
bottom.
lot going on down there, but, yeah. That's good, a good capture though, yeah.
House is down.
There is a lot going on here for sure. You know, the exposure and the tones are really well done. I've never been to a reenactment, so I'm curious if this is a composite or if what was added, or who made this? This is a single shot. Wow. In that case, wow. There is a lot going on there to, especially with just the musket shot and the shape that makes going to the other person, lending a hand, like you have a nice shape going on there. This is busy, but to me, it's interesting because this is the kind of photo you'd sit down with and look at for a little while and see the different stories going on. So I think this is especially knowing that it's one photograph, I like it even more. The composition, you have almost an S-curve going on there from the middle down to the acting wounded soldier. And maybe if that flag wasn't cropped, but that's just, again, that's remembering the rules I learned in my first photo class. That doesn't matter. But the lady up there is also very interesting, but she definitely stands out. But again, I think it tells a story, so I think this is a really great photograph.
That'd be great if it were even bigger. A dynamite shot.
War Stories, Zor, Jackie Sayuski, 24 points, second place.
This reminds me of the old song, Red Sails in the Sunset. I think it's done well. The sun is exposed very well. I'm thinking if some of the sides were cropped out a little bit, but that's minor. Good job.
Edgewater Sunset Sail, Rick Mills, 21 points.
The scene here is set with kind of a nice ethereal mood, some soft light, a little bit of haze, and so forth. Kind of like the trees, the way they stand out in this. However, that being said, and as we said before, that upper left corner is so hot. That's basically where your attention's going, and you miss the house that is it might be the destination you really want to go to. I would probably suggest different cropping where you crop a little tighter. I mean, it's okay to have some of the lightness in the image because you've got fog and spectral sunlight, which is nice, but I think you have way too much white in the upper left corner. And if you kind of just focus down into a little bit and lighten up the house, that's really, I think, the subject you need to go to, and I think it may be more successful.
I think if you did dodge the house a little bit, it would offset some of the brightness. I think the one thing about photographs is that the older I get, the more I think that people do have a responsibility to sit with the photo. And I think with the world we live in now, you have a split second. And so some of these photos that we've talked about, I think that if we were to sit with them, some of those compositional things that we've all learned might not be as important. But I remember actually Rich Bogart here, when I was printing in the darkroom, he taught me how, just to kind of make a fist and hover it around the center of the photo. That was the last thing that I would do, and I still do that to this day digitally. So I think if you did that kind of hovering around the house and dodge that a little and put a bit of a vignette on that, to your point about that's where you want the eye to go, I think that's a photo that would look very differently if you just did those things. It's a cool photo and a cool mood, but I agree with you that you kind of lose the house. And maybe a little foreground in that would do something too.
Annapolis Royal Botanical Garden, Nova Scotia, Dave Korosek, 20 points.
I think this is a well-made photograph with a challenging composition. Splitting basically the two in half can really be difficult to achieve, but the stairs in the foreground to me kind of break it up nicely. I feel like on the toning side of it, maybe it could be a little richer because there are so many colors going on in there. But I'm guessing this is maybe a wide lens, at least it seems like it, the way that the trees pull out. And I like that though. Sometimes that effect can really make a photo look funky, but this one, it gives it a lot of motion and great texture, everything. So other than maybe a little more of a punchy toning, I think that, and maybe that same thing of dodging the center and putting a vignette on it would just give it a little more drama.
The far left needs to be darkened. A couple of reasons. It's gaudy, doesn't need to be, and darkening would actually enhance the color. I'd like to see what this image would look like in black and white. It's a perfect image for black and white. Now, an image like this, well, there's nothing you could do about it from where it was shot, but you don't need the sky in an image like this. The sky is your enemy. If you could have taken it from a little higher up, I don't know, maybe you couldn't. But if you could, take it from higher up, maintain as much of the rock as you can without losing it, getting rid of the sky, and then darkening maybe the whole left half of it, making it darker as you get to the edge. I think this would be a much, much stronger image.
I apologize, Rick. I can't read the last word of the title. Hocking Hills Rock, Rick Mills, 20 points.
Yeah. Well, I have to congratulate the photographer for not being eaten after he took the picture. A good job, a very good job. Long lens, I assume. Yeah, very nice. Portrait, a portrait. Very good.
I know it would probably be the last thing I ever did, but I do want to go up and hug. That's such a, there's such a moment there, so yeah.
No, you don't want to do that.
But yeah, just a comment too, I think that's to get that moment. I don't know if it was how long the lens was, but that is not an easy photograph to make, and it's an interesting composition to me that, the space you leave around the face, so you can almost feel the fur. It's a nice photograph.
Yep. Very nice.
Go Away, Eric Batsky, 23 points, third place.
It's such a simple composition here, and it actually pretty much works with that. I really enjoyed the textures of the sand, the different colors of the sand, and that the blue stone there, I think, really sets it off. I mean, You know, it's pretty much monochromatic, but you have that light blue in there, so it's not gaudy by any means, but it's just a little spot of color to accentuate the nice curve of the sand and all the different colors of grains and the contrast between the two. Very simple, but I thought very nice.
A Heart from Iceland, Bob Koleski, 22 points, honorable mention.
So, a couple feelings towards this photo. I wish the houses at the bottom weren't cropped so tight. I kind of get that that does something to the scale. But maybe if there was a little more of the foreground, I personally, and you know, again, this is just my take on it, but it's a beautiful photograph of a moment that feels like a postcard, you know. But I think that this kind of makes me feel a little bit like the Badlands photo, where there's a lot of competition going on, and I'm not sure where exactly I'm supposed to go. But I think it's a you know, beautifully exposed moment. I guess I'm kind of going back and forth in my head if that foreground would do anything, or if that's the point of the photo, that those houses are so tiny, and look at those massive mountains, you know. Those homes probably gave people shelter from the storms that are on the top of that mountain. So I don't know, maybe I was wrong to suggest more foreground, but I think this is there's a story there, you know, and telling a story in a landscape isn't easy to do. So I'm kind of curious about people who live there, or what someone's life would be like if that's where they lived. So, yeah, it's a really nice photo. Maybe a little more punchy somehow. I don't know. I don't want to say it's not flat, but I feel like it could have a little more contrast to maybe make it a little more dramatic. But yeah, the more I look at this photograph, the more I enjoy it.
Dolomite Vista, Hugh Thomas, 22 points, honorable mention.
Yeah, this is even more pleasant, I think, than the last sailboat picture. Same photographer? Same photographer that did the other
I
sailboat?
assume so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Good job, very good. I like this one better because you got the sails silhouetted against the sun, and then you have a sailboat up in the open with a beautiful angle on the sails. Excellent color. Good job.
Wendy Park Sale, Rick Mills, 21 points.
This has got a beautiful feel to it. It's got fantastic detail on the mushrooms in the foreground. I'm looking for little men to live under them or something. I mean, it's that type of image. So, no. We don't eat mushrooms that we don't know about. I might like to sit a little tighter, but I would worry that if you went too tight, you would lose, you know, cropping on the mushrooms. So, I mean, it's actually a very pleasant and invokes a kind of a mystical type of feeling.
Vicky Wirt, Mushroom Community, 22 points, honorable mention.
So I'm going to take a guess that this is the same photographer, the last photo I talked about, and I think this is you know, a classic photograph. Nice motion on the water. Again, there's a story. You see where the water's starting and where it's going to. I wonder if maybe the rock on the left is a little distracting in the foreground, and it's kind of bright. And as I've mentioned with some of these critiques, I don't know if that's, you know, if you could have gone any further to the right without fallen in the water. But I wonder if getting rid of that rock somehow, or lessening it, or just burning it down might give you more focus on the water itself, because it's just kind of hot on the left side.
Bedford Viaduct Falls, Eric Batsky, 21 points.
Another nice capture. The geometry is present, the texture is present, the motion is present. It is very grainy though, when you're up close to it. You know, with digital photography, you can remove some of that grain without being obvious. I think that would have helped it. From standing back, you can't see it, but when you get up there, it's grainy.
Aerial dive, Catherine Kennegat, 20 points.
That was very well done as far as the image of this particular flower. I'm not familiar with it. It almost looks like there's a little, like, I don't know, some type of pot in the middle of it, if it's just part of its nap. But I mean, I love the structure of it. The lighting is very good. I like the placement's good, and the surrounding area I think really helps set it off. It's very muted. You got some greens, which are part of the leaves of it, but I think in this case they support the subject, which is what you want any other element to do. Very nice.
Lotus, Vicky Wirt, 24 points, second place.
When you have a photograph like that seems to emanate light, that is a very, very difficult effect to achieve. And I think that's just outstanding.
I think this is a pretty straight ahead photo. I'm curious what's coming off the wings. I don't know really anything about. Well, there you go. Well, yeah, I'm glad I asked, because that makes it even cooler. I've never tried to photograph jets, so I wouldn't know the first thing to try and make a photograph like that, or how hard it is, or how many misses you'd have to get to, whether it's focus or that moment. But I think it's a really cool photograph. I wonder if maybe it's kind of almost right in the center, even though there's room on the left. So I don't know if cropping in more or backing out, I don't know what that might do to the photograph. But it's like it's not tight enough to really focus completely on the airplane, and it isn't wide enough to show more of the sky. So I wonder, I don't know if this is cropped or if this is how it was in the camera, but I wonder if there was room to maybe lower it or raise the photo in the frame, what that would do, because there's a certain graphic quality to this. Like if there was more room on the left, you could see this as a double page spread in a magazine where the left side had text and the plane was on the right. So I guess I'd be curious if either more or less space around the plane, you know, how that would affect the feeling of the photograph.
Out of the frying pan, Eric Batsky, 21 points.
A lot of misses to get that. Because I did the other jet. A lot of misses to get that.
Not like it's going faster.
I'm up?
Yep.
I'm up, okay. I think this was very well done. What's neat in a photograph like this is the shadow of clouds on the ground, and here you have it. The highlighted areas are beautiful. I would love to see what this would look like in black and white. The drama that this has potential in black and white, I'd love to see it.
Valley Church, Hugh Thomas, 25 points, first place.
Again, it's got a really beautiful feel to this. Once again, very kind of mystical in a way, it's soft. You've got some nice low-lying clouds. The some nice the color in the sky is totally different from the foreground, which I kind of like. It doesn't really color it. It kind of adds a different dimension to it. I'd almost like to see the foreground here a little brighter. I think it's a little bit too soft or low contrast. I think it needs to pop a little more, but it's got a beautiful feel to it.
Italian Fog, Hugh Thomas, 22 points. Honorable mention.
I think the most impressive part about this photo to me is probably just the, I guess I would say the technical side of it, the exposure, you know, under the bridge obviously is going to be dark with against the bright clouds out there, so that's not an easy exposure to make. It's one of the few verticals we've seen, and I think it's a good use of the curve of the bridge. And I know you can't do anything about that building on the left side. Kind of detracts from it a little bit, but I think it's a fun photograph, a nice line going to it. I don't know what you could do to really accentuate the bridge more, or not, or if, I don't think less focus would do anything, but I don't know. I think maybe if you came over a bit to free it up from that building on the left, I think it would give you even more, it would give you more focus on the bridge itself. But yeah, I like the photograph. It's interesting to shoot from underneath or different perspectives of things that you wouldn't expect to see.
Bridge over the Cuyahoga, Paul Giglia, 21 points.
This was, I was a little conflicted when I saw this. This has dynamite potential. The orange blur on the bottom, I think, is a bit of a mistake. If the flower could be separated a little bit more from the background, I think that would enhance it a lot, because it's got color, it's got some geometry. The stem coming out of that orange blur, I think, to me, that detracted from the image a little bit. I don't know, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, I thought it could use a little more anchoring at the bottom. It's almost a little bit too floaty.
Yeah, yeah. It has potential. Here again, I would recommend that the photographer continue to work on. You know, images, well, through the years, evolve. The first time you print them, oh, hey, you know, you look at them for 6 months, say, well, maybe if I did this, it would be a little bit better. So, bearing that in mind, if you have an image that has a lot of potential, your first attempt at it may not be your best. So, an image like this, I think, you should continue to work on it to enhance it as much as you can.
Firewheel, Dave Saborg, 20 points.
It kind of helps I'm familiar with the area, but it's a great rendition of the Berea Falls bridges. I enjoy how you have a nice flow. You've got the bridges, the water's coming down on the left. You even got a little bit of sunburst coming through there. In a way, it's almost thinks, I'd almost like to see two pictures here. I love the light through that bridge. And I almost would like to see if another image with that. I mean, I've I live close there. I've been there many times, but I've never been there when the light's been quite like that. And I really like how it glows from behind the bridges. You know, the rest of the image is pretty much in shadow due to the sun angle, and is well exposed for that. And it does give you a nice feeling. My eye does tend to go to that upper kind of middle right corner with the brightness in the bridge, but I also find it fascinating. So it's a good rendition of a scene that I know of.
Berea Falls Sunrise, Dave Korosek, 22 points. Honorable mention.
No wonder it's a sunrise. I never can get my butt out of bed early enough.
Yeah. I think I could tell this as being maybe Playhouse Square. I'm guessing. I think it's hard for me to know what to say about this because it doesn't quite feel like a photograph to me. It feels more like a painting, which, you know, is, if you want to take a photo and kind of go this way, it's great that we can do this a lot easier now. I think there is an interesting composition, you know, that red brick path down the center kind of breaks things up, but it's nice how it lands in the sky in the background. There are interesting shapes going on here. Yeah, I think the shapes are probably my favorite part of it, and again, this is just what I like to see when I see something. I wonder if it had a little more heaviness to it in its tones, what it would look like. But then again, if that's what this person is feeling, then that's what matters. But yeah, I think it's interesting, and it's like some of the other photographs. The more I look at it, I think I would find more in it that I would be interested in. So it's intriguing.
Riding to Town, Jill Zabka, 19 points. And that concludes tonight's competition.
Well, I want to thank our judges tremendously for the job they've done. I want to thank all of our staff, and definitely thank all of you who entered pictures. We appreciate it. So thank you all.